Welcome back to another episode. It's about to get real woo-woo in this bitch. Excuse me, Miss Erin. I see your post of your dad. My condolences. My dad passed away about 2 years ago. How did you grieve your dad? What did that process look like for you? Because now you seem happy. I know it ain't verbatim, but it's the same shit. Let's get into it. So, what a great question. Grief is a pain in the ass, whether it be somebody you loved died or somebody you loved as a spouse, you guys are no longer together, or even a job that you may have worked at for a long time and they let you go. The end of something that you really had your heart in, it ignites a grieving process. There was some anger. When my dad first passed away, I just didn't really say anything. When we got the phone call from my brother, my sister dropped to the ground and was crying, but I just stood there in shock. I was just like, because I didn't really think about death up until that point. Somebody dying never really crossed my mind at all. So it was like, oh, your dad's dead. And I was just like, and I was stuck like that for a minute. After that, I fucked my life up because I was just looking for some type of love, like the same type of love that he gave me. He made me feel seen, heard, paid attention to. He made me feel cared about. He made me feel loved and like I matter and like I was important. And so I didn't have that anymore, and I would get that through guys. And I never had no boyfriend before that. Before my dad died, I never had no boyfriend. So I got my first boyfriend around the time, like probably like a couple months before he died. Yeah, I probably got my first boyfriend like October, and then my dad died December. Is that true? December. He died December 2016. Yeah. So I leaned into that boyfriend. He is now baby daddy number 1. So when I say leaned in, yeah, more like laid back. No, but yes, I was just obsessed with my boyfriend, and he made me feel the things that my dad made me feel, plus more, right? So that boyfriend, he was young and dumb. I was young and dumb and grieving, and didn't realize that I was grieving. I didn't really know. And then my mom didn't know how to help me. I vividly remember one time she was like, he probably would like that y'all still crying over him. This was probably like years after he died. He probably would like that y'all still crying over him. And I just remember thinking like, this bitch is so insensitive. But whatever. So I probably grieved for like 8 years. I just now got through it for real, to actually care about myself and doing good things for myself. Because at first I was like, my daddy gone, I want to go with him. I was real down bad. There's always like steps to grief. And so the steps I took was shock, disbelief, and then acting out, and then suicidal. And then I started to give a fuck. I was like, okay, I need to figure out how I'm gonna get through this, because I keep waking up and I'm too cute to kill myself. And I have kids. I had 2 at the time. Now I have 3, but at the time I had 2. And I'm like, I have kids and they love me, so pretty sure they want me around. But as for me to be able to wake up every day and try, there's something that needs to go on up here in my mind. So what I did was, me being the nerd I am, I started studying religions and spirituality. And because like I already was Christian, but that wasn't doing it for me. That wasn't cutting it. I didn't understand that. It didn't resonate with me, Christianity. So I looked into spirituality and Taoism, Buddhism, and just to see what else is there other than human life, because my main question was, where is he then? Because in school they teach you energy cannot be created or destroyed. And if human bodies operate off of energy that's inside a soul, a spirit, energy, then where does it go after the body dies? Because we can't kill energy. And even people will tell you, you're on borrowed time because you can't create energy. Just because I was born doesn't mean there's this new energy that happened and was created. No, the body was created using recycled material. Mama, daddy, mamas and daddies, and So where did my energy come from for me to be alive as Erin? And then where did my dad's energy go now that Henry is dead? Henry's body is dead. That was my burning question. Let's get into it. So it was fun to start studying about spirituality and then also science. I was studying about science and just putting it all together. And I always say spirituality is personified science. Like all the religions, all of the science, and the spirituality, they all saying the same shit, but using different terminology. And it all just seems like there just is something. We'll call it awareness. There just is awareness. And then the awareness is just dispersed in different ways. But then I thought there is energy. And then there's energy just dispersed in different ways. There's humans, there's insects, there's plant life, there's atmosphere. So I'm just like, And then I started thinking about the psychics, the psychic mediums. When they say that they're talking to somebody, oh, I have a message from your dad, I just feel it. I'm just like, how? And when I was growing up, I used to watch TLC. And I watched Teresa Caputo, the psychic medium from Long Island. I'm pretty sure she's from New Jersey or some shit. And I always wanted to be a psychic medium. And then as I got older, I watched Tyler Henry. He's a psychic medium. And I was like, how do they do this? I really want to know how to do this. And now that I'm older and it's 2026 and we got all this access to all this data and information, I was like, we're really gonna learn about this. Like, if they could do it, I could do it. And I came to think like, all right, so if I don't find out where energy comes from, because it seems like it just is. Yeah, we could say there's a creator. God is the creator. But I still feel like that's personifying. We're making something a person, like calling God him. Him is a gender. Energy is not gender. Like, well, yeah, it is. Like, it's like masculine, feminine, but that's more like traits. When energy is masculine, divine feminine, that's more so traits. And we say masculine and feminine as humans so that we can conceptualize it easier. But if we take all that out of the way, what actually is energy? I don't really know, honestly. It just seems like it just is. It's just existence. And then some people say like, the universe is based off zeros and ones. It's like coded, whatever. So you trying to tell me like after we die, we turn into a 0 and a 1? Then my thing is, how do psychic mediums communicate? If this universe is created off of a code, how are people able to access the Akashic records? How are people able to receive messages from God? How are people able to communicate with dead loved ones? How? Where are they? Where is that energy? And then through that search and trying to find out what people's opinions are, what's been proven, what's hypothesized. That journey alone helped me get through my grief because he fine. Brandon Electric? I think my power went out. Oh, sorry. Yeah. Speaking of energy, there go an electrical company. But, yeah. So, also, while just trying to learn about basically learning about philosophies, science, spirituality, and religions, that journey alone helped me even learn more about myself and about what I actually care about. And that was interesting. And that helped me feel better too. And then I know that people get gut feelings, they feel intuition, they're intuitive, and sometimes we ignore it. Most times we ignore it. And then we come to find out, something told me to do that. Like, what is that? What is that intuition? What is that? And I thought, like, if there's just this feeling, this gut feeling, speaking of gut, hello. If there's this gut feeling that can tell me without telling me like a human speaks, if there's this gut feeling that I just know something, or I just get this feeling or this sense of knowing, that must be connected to wherever my dad is. That must be connected to all energy. And so I started paying more attention to that intuition, to that inner sense. And then I came to find out that just like the human body has senses, we can hear, see, smell, taste, touch. The soul has senses too. The energy within us has senses too. And so I said, oh, okay. So I realized that once I start developing my inner senses, that's when I started to become able to communicate with the spirit world, because it just all made sense to me. So energy, we'll say the spirit world, but energy, spirits, they're able to communicate however they can, whatever they can use, whatever they can manipulate, they will, as long as you get the message. And the way that I receive information from the spirit world will be different than how the next person receives information from the spirit world, because it is based upon reception. Like, why would a spirit who is with God, once you're with God, what does God do? God knows everything. God's all knowing. So when a spirit is now with God, they know too, right? That energy knows as well. That's why a lot of people will get messages from psychic mediums of apologies. Like, I didn't know at that time. I'm sorry. Because they finally get to know how they made somebody feel when they were a human, and all they could really conceptualize was what their human brain could conceptualize. But once our soul and our spirit is outside of this human body, we really see what the fuck's going on. So I say all that to say that there's really like a lot of other things going on that us being human, we just don't see. I mean, even something as simple as how different living creatures can see different waves of light than we do. That alone also told me that there are some other things going on that I just haven't been aware of. And then I also realized that I've just been a ditzy bitch for a long time. My mom really coddled me and my sister, and we didn't really know that the world was a bad place growing up. I didn't know the world was a bad place until I got my first boyfriend and like graduated high school and got my first boyfriend. And up until then, everything was peaches and cream. The biggest thing I had to deal with was my mama's attitude. That's it. So now I'm like really experiencing what is life really about, and where do I want to put myself in life. And learning more about the spiritual world, which is, to me, basically is the real world. learning more about that really let me know that there's more to life than just this human life that we're living. Wake up, go to work, help some kids out, and then go to bed and do the same thing. Or whatever. To be more general, wake up, have a day, go to bed. Wake up, have a day, go to bed. There's just way more to existence than that. And I said, this is so interesting. Like, at this point, I'm charged up. When I found out that there's more to life, I was than just like having a good career in a nice place to stay. I was charged up. I was like, that is so amazing. Like, I literally went manic. I was so amazed and happy and elated because I finally was able. My hands are always crusty. I always wash my hands. I pee. I drink all day. I pee all day. Wash my hands. They crusty. Fuck it. I'm not even about to put lotion on. Every episode I'm putting on lotion, but I'm not even doing it right now. But yeah, so I was actually able to communicate with the spiritual realm that we are simultaneously living in. Like, it's like layers. And we're living right here, but right here is going on too, and right here is going on, and right here is going on. It's almost like there's all these different types and ways to live going on at once, almost like a double helix, and we're just one of the helix, but there's another one there. Almost kind of like, that's how I look at it. And I started getting more familiar with the other helix. I started getting more familiar with the other layer, like another layer to existence. Because if my dad was alive as Henry and then he died, that means he is now experiencing a different form of existence. If energy cannot be destroyed, then that means he is now experiencing another form of existence. And so I was like, well, what form of existence is he experiencing, and how do I communicate with him? And that's what I've been doing. And like, it'll be things like this. Like, for instance, the spirit world, the spiritual realm is able to communicate easier through like metal objects and electricity and anything that operates off the electromagnetic field of the earth, like birds, butterflies. And then there's, I don't know, I would literally have to look up the list, but there are certain type of methods that the spirit world likes to use best because it's easier for them to manipulate that energy. Like when people are just, maybe just in a room talking about something and then something falls randomly, like that's a spirit. And then, like that movie Interstellar, when he accidentally like went to another universe or something, he started experiencing a different form of existence, and he was trying to communicate with his past self and his past daughter. And his daughter was picking up on the clues, but he wasn't thinking about that shit. He was like, ah, blah, blah. But she was like really picking up on that communication and trying to tell him things, but he wasn't having it. But his future self, who was now in this new form of existence, the one who was sending the messages, he's like, no, listen to her. Y'all seen Interstellar? And if not, go watch that. That's literally like true. But yeah. So what I do is, like, if I ever notice anything weird or woo-woo, like, what? Like, what the fuck? I will literally say, who's here? And then just like if I were to say something in my head, like if I were to say chocolate milk in my head, like say chocolate milk in your head. That's how a spirit can like say something to you. And that's called clairaudience. So if you're able to pay attention to that, because it's a gentle voice, right? Say chocolate milk again in your head. You barely hear that shit, but you kind of know that you hear that shit type of thing. Like, you don't hear it, but you kind of hear it. Like that's a way that the spiritual world will speak to you, especially if you were super connected to somebody. Like I was super connected to my dad. I know how he talks. I know what type of things he would say. So I know for a fact when it's him communicating with me. Or if I just randomly pay attention to something, and he used to say "re" all the time. Even just now here speaking, I keep looking out the window because I'm trying to just like gather my thoughts, and I keep looking at, when I look in the camera at myself, I'm just so cute, so I get distracted. So I keep looking out the window and everything, but I just happen to look my eyes right here, and this is here. Speaking of here, you don't see it as backwards, but it says love grows here. And my eyes gravitated straight to the last two words of here, which is re. So I'm like, all right, nice to see you're here, Dad. Yep. Nice to see you're here. He used to always call everybody re. Ooh, re. Y'all re. Everybody re, but me. Like stuff like that's how he used to act. So when I hear that type of vibe back here, I know he's saying something, and I listen and I pay attention. Another thing, if you really want to, you can try and communicate too, and it's like no harm, no foul. A lot of people are scared to communicate with the spirit world, but it's just like, okay, they're communicating with you anyway. They're around you anyway. It's just about if you want to be aware and you want to communicate. That's when, we get the psychic mediums and the spiritual healers and all this stuff. And there are actually schools and classes that you can take to strengthen your psychic awareness and abilities, because everyone has a soul. And psychic abilities are just the abilities of the soul. If it's out of control, that's when we get borderline schizophrenic and stuff like that. Mania, when it's out of control. But as long as you keep it controlled, then you're like a psychic medium and shit like that. But yeah, so I would do things like this because I, of course, used to be skeptical. I was Christian, blasphemy, bitch. Like, who you talking to? Who? I don't see nobody. Don't do that around me. Like that was definitely me for sure. But after my dad died and I was in that whole fuck it era, I need to figure something out. I was like, I'm gonna try it. If anything else, I'll go back to Christianity where I'm safe. And I never went back to Christianity. I do still like reading the Bible sometimes because it's like some interesting stuff in there. And it's very allegorical and interesting to play with. But, not play with. I don't want to, play with nobody's religion. But anyway. So I would do stuff like this. Daddy, I sure could use some pocket money. Like, I know I just got paid a few days ago, but I spent that up. Like, and I'm really trying to get me some Chick-fil-A later. Then got to get gas. And might want to get me a little ganja. I am running low. Like, I would literally speak out loud like that and think in my head. Like, I'm really good with visualizing things in my head. And I'll think in my head, like, as if I'm sitting in front of him, talking to him. And then I kid you the fuck not, 4 out of 5 times that I do that, somebody send me money. Maybe my sister. She like this literally happened one time, and I told her, I said, "Bruh, how'd you know? Like I just said out loud." Da, da, da. She sent me some money and was like, "Here, some pocket change." And I just asked for pocket change from my dad's spirit the day before. And the very next day, my sister sends me money, talking about, here, some pocket change, and I didn't even ask. That helped me. That helped me, like, see what's going on a little bit more. So I'll do things like that. Like if, let's say that this top right here just all of a sudden moved, I would be like, who's here? And then I'll just sit and I'll just try and listen to any thoughts in my head. And I know they're not going to be my thoughts, so I'm just going to listen. And then whatever I hear, that's who I know could be present. Whoever I think of, if I think of like my Coco, then I'll be like, oh, Coco. Like a lot of times when my vape drops, I'm like, who's here? And then I'll think of my Coco. And I'll be like, oh, yeah, I know that's her, because she used to tell me when I was little, oh, y'all don't need to be doing that smoking. Don't do that smoking. And then me and my sister be like, we not going to smoke. That's bad. And then forgot about it. But that memory came up along with Coco and her essence, Or sometimes I'll smell like lipstick, and then I'll look around and then I'll see something, like maybe I'll see like Euclid Drive, and she used to live on Euclid Avenue, and I'm just like, hey Coco. It's almost like they're just dropping in to say I love you, or dropping in to say hey. And honestly, it's up to me to decide how I interpret it as well. That's why it's really interesting to learn about this type of stuff, because it's like energy, spirits, God communicates with us all the time too. Like if you just want to say God, sure. Like it doesn't matter. It's all the same shit. Whether you want to call it your daddy, it's your daddy spirit, or your grandma's spirit, or your auntie spirit, or God, it's God himself. However it is most receptive to you is going on regardless. The energy around us is always communicating with us. It's just about if we peep it or not. And so when somebody's a human, they're contained in the human body. Their energy is almost like trapped in the human body, so it can power the human body and do things through the human and experience and make change and impact or whatever they want to do in that human body. But once it's released, the energy is just, now it's just in the atmosphere. It just exists. It's just existence at that point. And so that means anyone has the ability to download that existence. Somebody has the ability to download that encryption. If you want to go back to the analogy that the universe is built off of code, zeros and ones. All that I'm even doing right now, you watching TV, like everything that we do is encrypted in like the universal files, and they call them the Akashic records, and everyone has access to that. But us being humans, I personally think that us being humans gives us a greater ability to access certain spiritual information or energetic information or godly divine information and share it with others, since we are humans and we're a little bit more, like cognizant than a turtle or a fish. But they use their psychic abilities their own way. Just like how dolphins do the sonar communication. That's some psychic shit right there. And then how we have some nonverbal or autistic people who know how to read minds, kind of. And they know how to do telepathy because they don't have no choice. Like, they're not sitting up here talking. People not talking to them. They're ignoring them because they don't know how to talk, right? So they have no choice but to discover what's inside. And then they sharpen those abilities, and they're very, very, very much so psychic because they develop those soul abilities. So it's just interesting. I was like, okay, that's where everyone's connected. Everyone and everything is connected by one thing: energy. Nikola Tesla, Albert Einstein, all these people, Friedrich Nietzsche, they all will tell you, like, the world, think of it in terms of energy. And studying that really gave me, a totally different look on life. And it made me come to the realization of, like, everybody's one day closer to death. We're all dying. We're all dying and living at the same time. How paradoxical is that? Of course, me smoking a vape is speeding up my death, probably. But everyone, every single minute, every single day, we are dying and living at the same time. So death is inevitable and life is inevitable. Like, energy is going to manifest into a form of life. Always. It always has, and it always will. And that will always happen. It's just about what planet, what universe, which timeline, with which people, through what vessel. Are we going to be human, this, that, extraterrestrial, like whatever. And that's a fact. And it's also a fact that humans can communicate with it all. And I think that's what the Bible means when they said that humans were given domain over the land or some shit like that. Right? Humans were given domain, and humans are like the top of the pyramid or whatever. And that's because we're able to communicate in a way that's totally different than any other living creature here on Earth that we know of generally. So, yeah. So I feel like, see, I only saw my dad in the summertime because my mom and dad were separated. So I didn't see him every day anyway. And I don't see him every day now. But I feel like me and his connection got stronger and deeper after he died. And then the more I learn about spirituality and energy and science and quantum physics and all that stuff, the more I can reflect back to previous events that my dad was like communicating with me the whole time. Like, or God or whoever. I just like to I like to channel divine energy through my dad. Like, if something good happens, I'll be like, thank you, Daddy. I don't say thank you, God, even though it's through God that everything happens, right? Because God, in my opinion, is just existence. Existence is everywhere, and everything is made up of existence. That's why it exists. So that's what God is to me. God is like existence. So it just takes the form of however you want it to take form, however the existence wants to take form. And I like to say, oh, thank you, Daddy, like whatever. I don't know. It's just interesting though. It's a continual learning phase. Not phase. There's always something to learn when it comes to spirituality, religion, energy. There's always something to learn, and my intuition always guides me to where I should be going. And the power of the tongue, even the Bible says in the beginning was the word, like the word of God, which is basically just setting existence into motion with intention, in my opinion. So even some people say that the stars in the sky that we see is God, or any energies that are above the water firmament, the firmament that's above, the waters that are above the firmament. It's like the energies, or God is speaking, and then that voice, that sound wave hits the water that's above the firmament. And so from us looking up at the firmament, we see it as a star. So some people say that, which is an interesting perspective. Is it true? I don't know. I'll know when I die, but it's just interesting to know that. And it basically just shows that, and it symbolizes that words and the voice is a powerful tool. The voice is a powerful instrument, and words are powerful tools, and they can make mountains move. Like, I say something, I get my answers. I say something, it happens. I ask something, I get my answers. If you're praying for something and you start seeing shit change in your life, you start seeing some things change around, honey, your prayers are being answered. Like, oh, I want to do this and that with my life so badly. Like, God, help me out. Like, and then you start seeing day by day, like, some shit changing. You get fired from your job. What the fuck? La, 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 la. I said I wanted more money. I didn't say I wanted to be unemployed. Unemployment is not more money, honey. Sorry. But then you come to find out, like, a couple of days later, you finally get a call back. You get an interview with somebody, and then you go to the interview, and then you get the job, and it's way more money than the previous job you had. And then you finally see, like, wow, My prayers have been answered. It was a bitch getting through it. I was scared. But I finally got what I asked for. Or, God, please let there only be real people around me. And then all of a sudden your friends sleep with your man. Didn't you say you wanted only real people around you? Well, since you didn't see for yourself that that was a fake ass bitch, let me show you. And now you know, and you can get rid of her. And now you only have real people around you, but you got a real heartbreak too, you know? So it's just like, the universe can be funny sometimes. Funny, very funny. Really jokey, cutesy, jokey, not so cutesy. Bam. So I be talking to my daddy. He shows up in my dreams. Like one time we were at church in my dreams. We were at church and I just look back. I'm in the pews and I look back and it's my dad. He just sitting there. He go like this. And then I turn back around and I see all my family members in front of me in the pews ahead of me. And then I woke up and I thought, be quiet about what though? Be quiet about what? And then I kid you not, like days later, I had this huge spiritual awakening when I found out that I could communicate with spirits. I had that huge spiritual awakening. I learned how to let go of transgressions. And like I really worked on myself to let go of transgressions when people have wronged me. Like it's gonna happen. And I need to know how to get through that. I was basking in the ambiance of gratitude. I should be very much so grateful. The whole life that I lived, I did not struggle at all. My mom made sure of that. And I was like, wow, I'm very fortunate. In my whole life, I think I've been acting ungrateful. And so I was just having all of these revelations at once, like night after night after night. And then finally, like on the third night, I started to see. I was like being, is it called clairvoyant? I started to see like a bunch of like spirits. Like it just looked like a bunch of people in a crowd. It looked like an audience. And it felt on the inside like I was being supported. And it felt like good job. Good job. Like if I had just had a breakthrough. And it felt like they were happy that I was welcoming the spirit of love. Like I was welcoming the godly spirit. Spirit of God is love, peaceful, calm, forgiving. Like anything that they say that God's energy is, I was working towards having that within myself because I was just a mean bitch. And I didn't want to be a mean bitch because it didn't feel good. But what felt good was like all the God characteristics, all the godly characteristics. For example, that phone call I just got on the last take, that was my dad to let me know I need to go pick my son up. I forgot that I needed to pick him up. And that call came in like 10 minutes before the daycare was about to close and I was going to incur a late fee. So on that note, my dad, as Henry, is dead, but he is very much alive. And so are all of your loved ones. I love you all. I thank you specifically who submitted the question. I love you so much. And talk to me, hit me up, DM me anytime. Bye.